What's going on, y'all? So when I dislocated my shoulder in 2018, I had to wear a sling that had like a pad right here. It held my arm, over my shoulder, with the little strap over my shoulder, and I had a pad right here. So I was literally most of the day and even at night wearing a, a sling that would hold my arm like this. And so I wasn't moving any of this for like weeks and weeks, okay? Just to kind of let that shoulder capsule heal and let the whatever got stretched kind of retighten. Thing is, a lot of stuff tightened on this side here, and weakened. And so one thing I really noticed in particular as far as tightening is tightening in this area. So right here, kind of like between my shoulder blade and my spine. So there's like your traps, your trapezius muscle is in there, like your middle traps, as well as I think below that is your rhomboids. So that was tighter in there. And I also noticed tightness right here. And there's a muscle that runs between your pelvis and your rib cage. It's called your quadratus lumborum. I think that's the way you pronounce it. But anyway, I noticed tightness there, and so because of that, I noticed when I was doing bench press or push-ups or whatever, I noticed like an unevenness. I noticed that this shoulder would actually kind of come up, and I bear more weight here. I still notice that to a degree, and so one thing I've really been having to work on in regards to this muscle here is stretching it out. Okay, I'm going to show a couple of stretches that I'm using to stretch that out, or maybe one, and then I'm going to show what I'm using to stretch this out right here as well. What I've noticed here is this leg in particular. I've noticed sometimes when I run that I have knee pain only on this side, just a little bit, like especially if I run on a hard surface, or if I run for an extended period of time, or I notice different kind of things, even jumping rope, like especially if I'm doing like shuffling and stuff, where I'm doing it one-legged, occasionally I notice that. And so I'm going to show a stretch that I use to rectify that as well. Okay, and so first off, with this muscle between my shoulder blade and my spine, in other words, middle traps, rhomboids. This is a stretch I do, and hopefully you can see it well. I have a column here in my den. So you hold the column, and literally we're gonna lean back with that. Hold on, you don't want to let go and then fall. But like literally, you hold on to this, and then you lean into the stretch. And what happens, you can kind of feel that shoulder blade kind of start to pull away from the spine. And so it's kind of stretching out that area there from being stiff for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It feels really good too. So that's a good stretch to kind of open up that that space in between there. And it's something I'm needing to do a lot because I still have stiffness even several years later, because I need to be more diligent, to be honest, with stretching it. Now, there's probably some strengthening that needs to go on in there as well, but stretching is really the main thing because it's caused me to favor that side. Like I said, really good stretch, and I highly recommend it if you're coming back from a shoulder dislocation, because it's going to help you to kind of start to not be tight on this side, so you favor the other side and start to get some of those pains and stuff associated with imbalance. All right, remove my kids' toys and books out the way. And now, to stretch out the QL, quadratus lumborum, on this side, and I've actually demonstrated this stretch in the video here recently. But this is what I do. The side with the stiff QL, I'm going to raise my arm, so the arm that I dislocated. I'm going to raise this arm, and I'm going to pull it over this way. And what happens is you stretch the QL, and you kind of start to stretch all this on this side. It's actually really feeling good. However, when you first initially do that, you're going to notice your glute on that side lift up as well. And you don't really want it to lift because you want the space between your hip and your rib cage to kind of start to pull so you can get that stretch. So you'll take your other arm as an anchor and you'll put it down like so, and then you can kind of push your glute back down, and while you simultaneously pull the stretch over like this. And then if you kind of periodically take deep breaths, on the exhale you can lean further and further into the stretch and get that QL to lengthen real good. And so again, if you have like a higher hip or something like that, then this is a good stretch to alleviate that. The key really is just being consistent with it. Oh yeah, being consistent with it, and until you really start to see stuff balance out. What I was wanting to say earlier is, you notice I'm only stretching that side, and the thing is, I think it's okay for a time to just stretch one side because we're literally dealing with an imbalance. So you want to make sure that you actually favor one side in stretching, because that's going to help you to balance out how your body is favoring the other side to put everything on, if that makes sense, okay? So you wouldn't stretch one side forever, you just really emphasize it. If you do stretch the other side, just make sure you stretch the tight side more. If you dislocated your shoulder before, like I did, you're trying to get back into working out and whatnot, and you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments, because I know a lot of people visit my channel who have dealt specifically with the injury of shoulder dislocation. I want to hear from y'all. Have a good one.
As we get older, it becomes increasingly important to maintain and build muscle. Muscle helps you burn fat, stay mobile, and can contribute to longevity. However, many people have no idea how to work out to build muscle. My mini workout series on Patreon provides you with my body weight mini workout video library. These workouts use little to no equipment, which means that you can do them in the privacy of your own home. They start at beginner level and progress from there to ensure you continue to see results. Every workout is a full body workout, hitting chest, back, legs, and glutes, as well as other muscles in between. Become a patron today and receive access to my series of mini workouts, plus access to a digital copy of my book, 8 Weeks to Transform Your Diet and Your Health. By combining the workouts with healthy diet changes, as outlined in my book, you'll definitely be on your way to weight loss, improved health, and visible results. Join me at patreon.com/SeanB2B Fitness today.